The Supreme Court just made a move that every single gun owner in America needs to hear about right now. And on top of that, the Department of Justice just filed a lawsuit that could permanently wipe out every assault weapon ban in this country. Quick question before we go any further. Are you subscribed to this channel yet? Because if you are not, you are literally missing the most important Second Amendment updates happening in real time. Hit that subscribe button right now. I'm not going to let you miss what comes next in this video. Okay, let us break this all the way down. Here's what just happened in plain English, no legal nonsense. On June 2nd, 2025, the United States Supreme Court made a decision that sent shockwaves through both the gun rights world and the gun control world at the exact same time. The case was called Snope versus Brown. It was a challenge to Maryland's assault weapons ban. Maryland bans a huge list of rifles that they call assault weapons. Gun owners in Maryland said that ban is unconstitutional. They took it all the way to the top. And what did the Supreme Court do? They declined to hear it. They said, not today. Now, here is where most people stop reading the story. They see Supreme Court won't touch assault weapons ban, and they think gun owners lost. But that is not the full picture, not even close. Here's the part that actually matters. 3 justices on that court, Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Samuel Alito, and Justice Neil Gorsuch, they wrote a dissent. They were angry. They said this court should have taken this case. Justice Thomas wrote that the lower court got it completely wrong. He said these rifles are in common use by millions of Americans for lawful purposes, and that means they are protected under the Second Amendment. 3 of the most powerful judges in the country looked at assault weapons bans and said they are unconstitutional. That is not a small thing. That is a massive signal. So yes, the full court did not take up the case, but 3 justices went on record saying assault weapons bans violate the Constitution. And when 3 justices dissent like that, it usually means the court is going to take up the issue very soon. Legal experts across the board are saying the same thing. This fight is not over. It is just getting started. Now, here's the second thing you need to know, and this one is even bigger. On December 22nd, 2025, the Department of Justice under the Trump administration did something that had never been done before at the federal level. They filed a lawsuit against Washington D.C. Let me say that again. The federal government sued a city over its assault weapons ban. The DOJ said D.C.'s law is unconstitutional. They said law-abiding citizens in Washington, D.C. This is not a private gun owner suing. This is not the NRA. This is the United States Department of Justice, the most powerful law enforcement agency in the country, standing up and saying these bans need to go. If you're finding this helpful, let me tell you what is coming next on this channel. I have a video coming up about the exact 5 words you should say when a police officer asks you about your firearm during a traffic stop. Words that protect you legally. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss that one. Now, let me explain why the DOJ lawsuit against DC is such a big deal. Most assault weapons bans exist at the state level. Places like California, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, and Washington, D.C. have these bans. When private gun owners sue, it is a slow process. Courts drag it out for years. But when the federal government itself sues, things move differently. The government has resources, lawyers, and political weight that no private citizen has. This puts these bans on a fast track toward a court decision. And the DOJ did not stop at just suing D.C. They also filed legal briefs in other cases. In the Illinois case called Barnett v. Raoul, the DOJ filed what is called an amicus brief. That basically means the government walked into that courtroom and said, "We agree that Illinois' assault weapons ban is unconstitutional. Strike it down." The DOJ is fighting on multiple fronts at the same time. Here is what most people get wrong about this. They think these are separate, isolated cases. They are not. They are part of a coordinated legal strategy. The Trump administration set up an entire new section inside the DOJ's Civil Rights Division called the Second Amendment section. Its only job is to challenge gun laws that it believes violate your constitutional rights. This is the first time in American history that the federal government has had an office specifically dedicated to fighting for gun rights. Think about what that means. Now, quick legal note here. This video is educational information only. It is not legal advice. Every situation is different. If you are facing a specific legal issue involving firearms, please talk to a licensed attorney in your state. Laws vary by state, and things change fast. Let me talk about what this means for the states that have these bans right now. There are 10 states, plus Washington, D.C., that currently have assault weapons bans in some form. California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Washington State, and D.C. If you live in any of these states, this fight directly affects you. Here is a hypothetical example to explain what could happen. Imagine you live in Maryland. Right now, you cannot legally own an AR-15. You might own one that was grandfathered in, but you cannot buy a new one. Now imagine that a federal court, looking at the DOJ lawsuit against D.C. in the Seventh Circuit case in Illinois, issues a ruling that says these bans are unconstitutional. Suddenly, laws in multiple states could fall like dominoes. That is the real stakes here. Hey, here's a quick stat for you. About 73% of people watching this video right now are not subscribed to this channel. That means you might be missing updates just like this one every single week. Right now, over 50,000 gun owners trust this channel to keep them informed. Join that group. Hit the subscribe button right now and make sure you are on the right side of these legal changes. Now, let us talk about the Supreme Court and where things go from here. The Supreme Court recently agreed to hear a case involving Hawaii's gun laws. That case is expected to come before the court in 2026. Legal analysts say the Hawaii case could give the court an opening to finally address assault weapons bans directly. And remember, 3 justices have already put their names on paper saying they believe these bans are unconstitutional. You only need one more vote to have a majority. And with a 6-3 conservative court, that 4th vote is very much within reach. Here's the part nobody is really talking about openly. The legal foundation for assault weapons bans is crumbling from multiple directions at once. In 2022, the Supreme Court issued the Bruen decision. That ruling changed the entire test courts use to decide if a gun law is constitutional. Before Bruen, courts would weigh how effective a gun law was versus the burden it placed on gun rights. After Bruen, courts have to look at history. They have to ask, does this gun law match the kind of gun regulations that existed in the 1700s and 1800s when the Second Amendment was written? And the answer for assault weapons bans is almost always no. There was nothing like a modern assault weapons ban in the founding era. That legal argument is now working its way through courts across the country. In Illinois, a federal district court judge struck down the state's assault weapons ban. That decision went up to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. The DOJ filed its brief supporting the gun owners. That case is still working its way through the system. If the 7th Circuit agrees with the lower court, that creates a split among federal courts. And that is exactly the kind of situation that forces the Supreme Court to step in and make a final ruling. So here is what you need to understand. This is not just about one case. This is a legal wave that has been building since the Bruen decision in 2022. The DOJ joining the fight in late 2025 accelerated everything. The Supreme Court's 3-justice dissent in June 2025 signaled that the court is ready to take this head on. The Hawaii case coming up in 2026 could be the vehicle that makes it happen. All of these pieces are moving together. This information could become critically important in 2026 as cases come to a head. Subscribe right now because my next video is going to cover exactly what gun owners in states with these bans should be doing right now to prepare for what comes next legally. You do not want to miss that one. So let us bring it all home. Here's your key takeaway. The Supreme Court did not strike down assault weapons bans. Not yet. But 3 conservative justices publicly stated they believe these bans are unconstitutional. The Trump DOJ is actively suing cities and states over these bans. The legal framework that held these laws up is being dismantled case by case. This fight is moving fast, and the direction it is heading is clear. If you own a firearm, if you live in a state with an assault weapons ban, or if you simply care about your Second Amendment rights, you need to stay informed. This channel is where you get that information first, straight, and simple. Hit the subscribe button right now, share this video with one friend who needs to know about this, and drop a comment below. Tell me what state you're in and whether your state has one of these bans. I read every comment. One final note. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Laws change. Court decisions can be appealed. Always check your local and state laws before making any decisions about firearms. When in doubt, consult a licensed attorney. I will see you in the next video. Stay informed, stay legal, stay safe.